Welcome back to the Compound Podcast. This is episode 215. Yes, 215 of the Compound Podcast, presented by Parse Rum. Our friends at Parse, I want to say thank you to our friends at Parse. This is our first episode since the live show. Friends at Parse came out to the live show at the Music Box Theater, and they gave away Parse. They gave away hats. There's a lot of employees of the Music Box Theater walking around in Parse hats. Go to Benny's, get your Parse rum, my favorite rum, your favorite rum. When I say Parse, you say rum, Parse.
Rum.
Nice job, Dakota. Parse rum. Go to Benny's, check it out. I actually had somebody come up to me. I was in South Bend yesterday on the off day, and had somebody come up to me and say they should have brought a bottle of Parse to have me sign. There was a lot of Compound fans there. People wearing some Who Says No t-shirts, friend of the pod t-shirts.
Did you go to the game?
Yeah, I went to the game. I went over. You remember Andrew Berlin, the owner of the South Bend Cubs?
That's what I figured. That's what I figured.
Yeah, we went over there and saw a game, met some of the fans. It was cool to see South Bend again. And they've put the apartments in the outfield and stuff, and it's changed a little bit since we were there, but they're doing like a big renovation this offseason too, so that'll be cool.
They played yesterday?
Yeah, they played on a Monday. It might be because of the July 4th weekend.
Could be. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know exactly why, but yeah, they played yesterday, and we took the game in. The high A game, it's a lot slower. I don't know if the game's just slower from the stands, but like double plays getting turned, just like the way the balls are getting hit, like everything's just kind of moving a little bit slower. It was interesting. I haven't watched a game from the stands in ages.
I just loves baseball. Even on his off day, you can't get enough.
What was the last time you went to a game as a fan, do you think? Like, if you can remember before that.
2015.
You haven't been to a game since?
When would he go?
Guy, when would I have been to a game?
I don't know. I went and watched.
I mean, he's been in the big leagues that whole time.
I mean, I went in 22 and watched Scott.
Because you're a good friend and I'm a bad friend.
When?
In the playoffs.
You also went to Wrigley.
Yeah, I went to Wrigley too on an off day.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and like I went to a Cubs game in 2015 after I was drafted, in between short season and South Bend. And I think that's the last time I sat in the stands for a game.
Hell yeah.
Interesting. I like watching a game. I think it's a completely different perspective.
Did you guys
let me tell you, it is.
Did you talk about this before I got my camera figured out? Did Zach forget his mic?
Zach, you forgot your mic? This guy
I was talking
doesn't come to the live show, hates the pod. Huh?
I can't believe you couldn't pick that up right away.
I thought we were talking about going to the games, watching baseball.
Dakota, you had...
Yes, sir.
You had texted us this week.
Bloof
had a hot take.
I do it to Ian too, so it's only fair.
On the rails. Bloof had a hot take that you wanted to talk about. Do you want to set the stage? Do you want to say what the hot take was?
I mean, like what Plouffe and Chris Rose were talking about?
Yeah.
I just don't like when
explain what they were talking about first.
Okay, well I was gonna get to that, but they were saying like the Stroman reaction to this, which by the way, in that video, I don't know how much faster you could have turned that double play. But they were talking about the Stroman reaction to a slow double play turn, and then the Steele reaction in like the third inning of the game, I believe on Sunday, maybe Saturday, where he came in and told everybody to wake the F up. And they were just saying that basically they just used a couple terms that rubbed me the wrong way, where they said like, oh, pitchers are divas, like they're used to always being in control. Like it's only pitchers that ever do this, never position players, only pitchers. I don't know. I didn't love it. I don't like when like position players say like, oh, only pitchers do. Ian's screen just went completely black.
Julie just turned off the lights remotely, so I'm going to have to turn those suckers back on. There we go. And I'm back. Hot start.
Um,
Hot start. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Didn't mean to interrupt with my lights going off. You were saying about pitchers.
So my issue with their take, the Justin Steele one, maybe because I know Steele and I just know him as a person more. I had zero issue with Steele's reaction. I would think I'm curious what you guys think. More Zach than Ian. Ian's on the team, so it could be a little different. Steele came in after like there's like 3 plays that should have been made. One was by himself as well, but like 3 plays that realistically like could have been made and didn't get made and ended up costing 3 runs. Just like a frustrating inning overall. I never, from my point of view, have an issue with it as long as you're not like, hey, pointing like in Ian's face, like you need to make that play. Like as long as you don't call someone out, like if you're yelling at the whole team, I'm okay with that. I mean, you guys are 6 games below 500. It's been a frustrating time in Cubs land, and it kind of probably boiled over for Steely a little bit. I had no issue with that one. The one with Stroman on the field, not a fan of that. I don't like on the field kind of showing up your teammates. And like he did apologize after. And I get like heat of the moment stuff, but like on the field's a little much for me. But like I had no issue with Steele saying like basically like, hey guys, when is this stuff gonna stop?
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he was looking at Glaber and saying, What are you doing?" He was on the mound, talking to himself, not happy with it. But because we have cameras everywhere, like as a pitcher, like do you need to be that aware of the cameras and like, yeah, there's frustration, but it's not like he was looking at him, yelling at him. He's frustrated that he thought he got a double play ball. It didn't get turned. Like it's not about probably not even about Glaber. It's about the fact that like runs are being scored, you know?
Absolutely. I agree. I meant more not with what Stroman did, because like you said, like it's not like Glaber, you have to make that play and like pointing at him and yelling at him. More so just like frustration comes out in the heat of the moment. Like you said, there's cameras everywhere, so it's gonna be seen. So like on the field just like looks worse like to the media.
I agree.
But like all in all, even I don't think either one was anything crazy. Like it's not like they were in a guy's face like yelling at him fighting. It was just like, hey guys, like we need to make some plays here.
And I don't like when pitchers are on the bump doing the like, what are we doing? What do we got?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I think that's showing your teammates up. But like when pitchers are out there competing and getting after it, and like wins are the only thing that matter in this game. Like as a pitcher, like you want to stack up wins, whether you have a 2.5 or a 3.5 or a 5.5. Like you win 15 games, you win like you had a great year. And so like when you're competing to keep your team in it and giving up runs and you feel like you're doing a good job out there and stuff's not falling your way, like I love the competitiveness. I think it's important.
And I think that's my biggest issue with like their take saying it's pitchers being divas. I would rather have a pitcher come in and show he cares and show like this matters to me than someone that's just like, just another unlucky inning. Like I got screwed and like goes and pouts. Like at least like Steele's like, I want to win baseball games. We need to make plays so we can win baseball games. Like I have no problem with it personally. Obviously I am biased being a pitcher. But that was my take.
I also think like pitchers are the ones that can do it. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
like as a position player, like you're out there with the 8 other guys or 7 other guys, I guess, 7 other position players. And like if you come into the dugout and you're like, pick it up, guys, like what are you doing? What are we doing? It's like, dude, you're out there with us doing the same stuff. Like, what do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, I mean, we're all in this together, we're all grinding, like we're all trying to make these plays. Like I completely understand when plays don't get made. Like guys are giving their best effort out there, but like the pitcher needs us to help
Yeah.
him. Like
And
he needs us
I
to
think
help him. And like I
another
get when pitchers like are able to show that frustration. I mean, when I was young, like some of the guys that we had on the staff, like that was routine. Like that would happen all the
Mhm.
time. Guys getting pissed about plays not getting made or, things behind them because they cared so much about like getting W's.
And I think like Plouffe made a good argument of like you guys don't come in and say like stop throwing balls, like you need to throw strikes. But like again, that goes back to like that's a personalized attack. Like I said, like Steele and Stroman weren't in one guy's face and being like, you screwed up, that's on you. Like they were just in general, like, come on, boys, like, let's go.
Zach, any comments?
Yeah, I think I think the timing of it is the big thing too. Like you kind of have to know when to do it, like, or if you're going to do it at all. Like you can't just do it. Like if your team's, playing really well, like in the first mistake or blemish that happens, you can't just be like, what's going on? And it's like, relax. Like, but like obviously things have kind of been spiraling for, a few teams. And again, there's an element and almost like an art to knowing kind of when to do it. Again, you're not going to do it if your team's balling, your team's playing really well and someone makes a mistake, or not playing as hard as they can. You're like, all right, whatever, as bad as that sounds. But again, like if you're not playing well, you're not going to do it as soon as you guys lose 2 games. It's kind of like, all right, you kind of gauge the temperature of the locker room. And I think that's what kind of make leaders that's what makes the leaders, so valuable because like they know that time and kind of when to do it. And Ian, we've talked about this before too, like meetings almost. It's like the same thing as like kind of doing it together as like as a group, like, hey, players meeting, we're gonna have to talk about it, just kind of get some shit off your chest. And again, there's an art to doing that. There's an art to, stepping up in the middle of a game. And there's an art to kind of holding somebody accountable too, I think.
The only issue I have with what you said, not issue even, but note, effort. If someone is like noticeably like
Right, yeah.
not making an effort in the outfield or like on the bases, that's one where like the leaders in the like back like Anthony Rizzo, like he's probably John Lester, like they're getting in that guy's face the second they hit the dugout and they're like, hey, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's
Like
not what
that
it's like.
that effort for
Right.
me is one
I
where
didn't,
like
yeah, I don't
you
know why I
can
said
go
effort.
right up to that.
I didn't really mean effort. I think it was more of errors or,
Yeah.
just like mental mistake, whatever.
But lack of effort is one where I'm like,
I
you can
agree.
get in that
No,
guy's face immediately.
yeah, right.
Not on the field, obviously, but yeah.
Speaking of Stroman and Tom's Yankees, Tom, are you mad at the Yankees?
Not mad, probably the wrong word. It's been I think the concerning part is this has some resemblance to what happened in 2022 when they got off to an incredible start and then kind of collapsed a little bit in the second half. Judge has obviously hit another homer tonight to get it to 5-4 in the late innings. He's been unbelievable. But the rest of the team that wasn't named Judge and Soto, I believe, hit 220 in the month of June, which is not great. DJ LeMahieu's not really driving the ball, and he's been a very good Yankee, had some really great years. Maybe time to move in a different direction there. There's some concerns with the team, but I mean, they're still in first place and they're still a team that, has Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. So
Are they still in
second
first
place?
place?
They're in
Second
second place by half a game. I would actually do a murder for 54 wins right now. I would do an
There's
actual
no
murder.
way you just. I literally, you read my mind. I was going to say, Ian, I got a question for you. Like, what would you do for 54 and 33 right now?
I would do an actual murder for 54 and 33.
Judge 321 with almost a 1200 OPS with 32 homers and 83 RBIs before the All-Star break.
If you asked
What?
if you asked I mean pretty much any player in the big leagues, maybe short of a handful of guys, like would you take 30 pumps and 84 RBIs for your season?
Bro.
For your 162? Yeah. Sign me up. Sign me up. This guy, I mean, his month of June was insane. He had the best the best 50 game stretch for a right-handed hitter in the history of baseball. In the history of the game.
I mean, if he had an April that wasn't hitting 150, whatever it was, he would have 35 to 40 homers right now.
But can I also just say, like, about the game of baseball and how hard it is? Like, you see where this guy is now. He's hitting 3-something with 32 pumps, with 80 some RBIs. He is the triple crown in the American League right now, leading in every statistical category. He hit 150 for a month. Like, the game is really hard. Like, even the best player in the game hit 150 for a month.
And he's in there every day.
Every day. Every single day. Playing whatever position they ask of him. I mean, guy's unbelievable and deserves all of the praise, but I think that you just look at how hard the game can be. Like even that dude can hit a buck 50 for 30 days. Like it's just really, really hard. But he makes it look really, really easy. Especially right now. He just hits a homer every at bat.
In Tom's defense, of the Yankees as a whole, I will say, like, they right now are very heavily reliant on pretty much two guys to produce. And that would be cause for concern that you are like half your lineup is not doing much. Luis Heel has kind of come back down to earth recently. Like there's some warning signs there. So I will give Tom that. They are still 54 and 33, but there are some warning signs to not great baseball lately.
Zach?
Would you flip Judge and Soto?
Judge
2-3?
2 holes, Soto 3.
I was just talking about this with my dad. I think I would, because I want to get Judge more at bats, but
I think I would too. And then what?
Go ahead.
No, what?
I mean, I wouldn't because Soto has a 450 on base every year. He has a career 430 on base. Get that guy on base, or my guy Judgy, so that my guy AJ can hit his 32. He wouldn't have 84 riblets if Soto
he
wasn't
does.
walking
Yeah.
in front of him.
Yeah.
I want that guy hitting with guys on base. The whole
listen.
theory,
It's a good problem to
the
have.
like the
Either
Trout
way,
theory of like hit your best player first because they get the most at bats. Hit your best player that drives in the most runs in a place where they're gonna drive in the most runs. Like
That's
I need
like
people
when
on base
Trout.
for him.
That's like when Trout had like 15 homers and 19 RBIs to start the year, and it was like, wait
Yeah,
a second.
the only like as a team, the only way you're gonna win is by scoring runs, and your best chance to score runs is get as many bodies on base for Judge as possible.
Yeah, that's
Warm
true.
bodies on base for that guy.
and one guy that's been a little bit concerning over the last, I would say now 2 months, has been Anthony Volpe. He's a guy that at the top of the order that they really need him to be the guy that we saw the first 6 weeks of the season, and not the guy we've seen the last 6 weeks of the season. I would say
I
that's
mean,
probably the number one concern going forward for the Yankees, because LeMahieu, some of the outfield spots, there's ways to fix that. There's not a lot of solutions at shortstop because Volpe's been the guy. He's going to be the guy. So they need him to play like how he did at the beginning of the year.
finding a true leadoff hitter that gets on base a ton is really hard. And look, Volpe's in his second year, and like he made adjustments and started hitting. The league adjusted back. Like he'll be fine. He's gonna figure it out. But like that's part of it. That second year is really tough. And like after he struggled the first year, they probably tried to get him out the same way. Coming into the year, he made his adjustments. Now the league's adjusting back. Like he's gonna have to make his adjustments again and get on the right track. But some of his swings, like his right center swings, we were watching video against Milwaukee. We just played him. He had a right center ball there, homer, 104.5 to right center.
The swings haven't looked bad. It's just tough. Like tonight, they came up after Judge homered late in the game to make it 5-4. They had Grisham, Trevino, Volpe, with obviously Soto, Judge behind them, and you're like, if somebody can get on the way the two guys are swinging, you feel like you have an unbelievable chance to win the game, and they go down 1-2-3. And
Who were they playing?
The Reds.
So they faced Diaz.
They faced Diaz, and Diaz was nasty. Yeah, I mean that's the problem. It's obviously
Diaz
as you've talked about
95-mile-an-hour rise balls with the 88-mile-an-hour slider. It's like, yeah, man. You want somebody to get on base, but it's like you're facing a back end arm like that. It's like, yeah.
It's like you've talked about with the Brewers bullpen the last couple of years. Like when you get to those 8, 9, when you have a guy like Diaz in the ninth, you're like, we're gonna try, but it's certainly when you're counting on 8-9-1, it's like that's tough.
Yeah, that's why those guys are pitching in those spots.
Closer.
Bottom of the ninth. 2 outs. Bases full. Down 3. The crowd on their feet. The drama of baseball is real. And so is all the action on the DraftKings Sportsbook. From the first pitch to the final out, DraftKings has you covered with same-game parlays, live betting, odds boost, and so much more. And if you're new to DraftKings, you got to check this out. New customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code COMPOUND. New customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code COMPOUND only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Can we talk quickly about another team that is playing well? This team has 53 wins at the top of their division. It's the Cleveland Guardians. Have you guys heard about the old ballpark factor change in Cleveland?
I saw the video on it. Yeah.
Cleveland last year in 2023, for all the listeners, ballpark factor is a metric that goes into OPS plus and WRC plus. So basically each ballpark has a ballpark factor. There's a lot of things to go into it. Some things I don't think that should go into it. And I don't know what the exact calculation is, but basically tells you how good it is for singles, how good it is for doubles, how good it is for triples, and how good it is for homers. So a park like Coors Field or Arizona with a really big outfield in general ends up being really good for singles because there's just so much room. So like basically every year Coors Field is number one in singles. Those parks are also really good for doubles and triples. Now, home runs is an interesting one because size of the ballpark and like the way it flies doesn't always correlate to homers. So like in Arizona, ball flies really well, but they use a humidor there, and so like their ballpark factor for homers is actually one of the lowest in the league. Last year, Cleveland was, I think, the lowest or the lowest in the league at a 67. This is out of 100 would be average, the highest being Globe Life Field at 133 last year. Cleveland had a 67 for their home run ballpark factor, making it the hardest place in the big leagues to hit a homer. They have a very, very large left field wall that extends all the way to center. They took some panels out in the right field, like the right field grandstands, like between the first and second deck or the second and third deck. And it's kind of just like sucking the wind out of right field. They are now they're the fourth best ballpark to hit a homer. Petco being one, Minute Maid being two, Dodger Stadium being three. They're a 128. 128.
It goes number one in terms of home runs. That's surprising. Pretty big.
Ball's flying there. It's not great for doubles, not great for singles, not great for triples, but good for homers. It also, year to year depends because sometimes guys are just like on fire hitting homers there, and that changes things a little bit. But like Minute Maid's always at the top. Dodger Stadium the last few years has kind of been at the top. Yeah, but Cleveland as a 128. And you look at some of the homers going out to right field there, like 94 off the bat, 95, 96, 98. Just like those balls are flying out of there.
Do you think that there was like a team of people that like, hey, if we cut this out, like the ball's gonna fly?
I don't know.
100%.
I think
I
they
would
had to have
think
done some research and been like, hey, we need a little bit more slug. Like if we do this, our pitching's good enough or whatever, like maybe we can get some slug out of this.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of closers, Emmanuel Clase has thrown 39 in the third innings and given up 3 runs all year.
Have you looked at his career stats at all? Clase, the closer for Cleveland, dude throws 70 plus games a year. Like consistently has thrown 70 plus games and been like ridiculously effective. He's one of the most underrated closers or relievers in the game. Class A, 2021, 71 games, 2022, 77 games, 2023, 75 games.
Zach Short's got a double off him, 1-for-1 in his life.
Oh, baby.
Is that what Zach
He's a
was
career,
looking up?
he's a career 182.
I'm trying to go back to the progressive field stats. I wanted Miggy tore that place up. I want to know, Tom, do you know where to look that up? What he hit at Progressive Field?
I'll pull it. You guys keep talking.
It just felt like every time, even when we played there later in his career, he would hit a ball to right center there that would get out. And he would talk about it all the time. He's like, I love playing here because it rewards me for hitting to right center. And I couldn't imagine if he played there now.
He's probably happy to be anywhere outside of Comerica.
Truly, bro. Man. There's a lot of room for hits at Comerica, but Man, if he played at a normal size field, his numbers would have been even better. Like his slug would have been insane.
Yeah, it's crazy for a ballpark to make that kind of adjustment year to year, and like it's really to me that's like a really interesting one of like figuring out because like a field like Cincinnati, like Great American, like it always kind of has a jet stream coming in from the city, like the wind comes in towards the water, and it's not a big ballpark. It's pretty small in general, but like if you get a ball in the air to right field, like it's gonna go. Kind of every time you play there, you know that. But for a field like Progressive to make that big of a change, like that's
Do you think they told
pretty
their
nuts.
players in spring, like, hey boys, like, wait till we get there, wait till you guys see what you guys got?
They were just in spring. All they were like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. Lefties, you're just gonna pull it in the air.
Yeah.
We're just gonna work on pulling it in the air. I promise it'll work.
We should ask Val.
But Stephen Kwan's having a crazy year. Like he's come back off the IL. He's raking. He's hitting like 380. He's got 8 pumps. He's got a 1 dot. I think it's pretty cool to see. That dude's had a great rookie year, back to back Gold Glover. He struggled a little bit last year, but like to see him come off the shelf and absolutely rake is really cool.
I was on record saying I thought that he was going to win a batting title last year. I just think he's going to win multiple, I think.
He doesn't strike out and he doesn't swing at balls.
I have Mekkes progressive field stats. They're honestly, by his standards, like pretty average.
Really?
I mean, they're very, obviously, I'm going to read them to you, and you're going to say they're very good, but like it's probably only like 10th best among parks that he played in more than like 10 times. He hit 297 with a 370 on base, a 502 slugging. That's an 872 OPS, 26 homers, 90 ribbies in 127 games.
That's
Good,
that's really funny to like read that stat line and be like,
I truly thought it was going to be way better because the way that he would talk about it, he's like, Shorty, I love playing here. Like, right field rewards me. And everywhere that we went, especially for his last year, it would just say like, and Miguel was a career 376 hitter here at Great American Ballpark in his 174 games here. Damn, I thought it was going to be better. Back to Quan. I mean, Quan's hitting 368 this year, 228 at bats too. So it's like, yeah, he's not qualified, but it's not like he has 4 at bats.
yeah,
he talked about that he started swinging harder and was like, I'm just going to try to do more damage on the pitches that I'm making contact on. And the fact that he said he was trying to swing and miss more and his contact rate has gone up. He's a freak of nature. He's just one of those dudes that has like unbelievable bat control and control of the zone.
That's usually you hear the opposite when someone has like such a high average like that. They're just like, yeah, I'm just trying to put it in play. I'm trying to do this. And it's like, oh, nice. And then now he's like, no, I'm trying to hit mega bombs. And he's just like, yeah, I'm just hitting 370.
just doing it. I would like to mention
Ian, your mic.
what?
Came unplugged.
No, it didn't.
Narc Dakota.
Hey, just helping him because he sounds like he's in a chamber.
You're in
He's
a
in the chamber of secrets with Hermione.
Bruce Bolt. Our friends at Bruce Bolt.
Patronum.
BruceBolt.com. My gloves, my new gloves, the elephant print gloves just dropped. Go check them out. I'm pretty proud of them. I felt really good about them. I've been wearing them all year. And they're officially out. BruceBolt.com. We also have arm sleeves, elbow guards. See this? I got torn up in see that? I got attacked by a shark. Slid to third base and Chapman jumped on me. BruceBolt.com, BruceBolt.us, not .com, BruceBolt.us. Elbow sleeves or like arm sleeves. We have elbow guards, we have shin guards, and
Shorts.
new elephant print batting gloves. Pretty cool. Check them out. BruceBolt.us. What other topics do we have tonight, fellas?
Diaz got thrown out for using sticky stuff.
Yeah, we were playing him in New York. Umpires didn't like it.
Chicago, wasn't it?
It's in New York.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was in Chicago. It was in Chicago.
It was in Chicago.
Yep, it was in Chicago.
I
Yeah.
I trusted that Ian would know since he was at the game.
Wait, you know what's crazy though? You know what's crazy? Umpires didn't like it. They threw him out. Um, what they said it was too sticky. He said it was rosin, same thing he does all the time. There's some photos of it, didn't look great. But Drew Smith came in to throw after that. He got through the inning, but the trainers came out with like two outs to come look at him. He ended up blowing out.
Yeah.
So
He's had injuries all year. And I actually watched an interview with him the other day. He was pretty emotional about it. He's been there for a while, and I think he's hitting free agency after this year. And for that, he waved them off, right? He was like,
yeah, he
"No,
waved him off and stayed in and finished the inning. And then it came out, a couple of days later that he had to get TJ. But it was crazy, just like, when that happens, somebody gets thrown out, especially the closer. Like nobody's up, It's like this is our closer. This guy's gonna finish the game, and he gets ejected. So Drew has to come out of the pen and like get loose on the mound, and he took his time and he got loose. I was leading off that inning, and like it was a good few minutes for him to get loose, and he definitely like went through his whole prep, and I'm obviously not the same prep as he would have in the bullpen, but that stinks to like,
Oh.
and maybe it was a matter of time, but like stinks to come in like that and then
I
fall out.
I think I'd be willing to bet that it's kind of like a matter of time thing, right? Like because you get ready a few seconds earlier, a few minutes earlier. Like I don't think that, right?
Dakota, like if you have a weighted
would
ball routine or something that you do, like
I mean, if you have like a weighted ball routine or like plyo ball routine, I would assume he would have already done it by then. Not like I would assume that he does not do that like when his name is called in the bullpen because you just don't have time for that. So I would imagine that if he were to have that, it's probably being done like throughout the game when he feels like he needs it. Obviously, I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't think that it's like, hey, Drew Smith has next inning, and then he starts doing like plyo balls, like or weighted balls. Like you don't have time for that in the big leagues, or really anywhere. So I wouldn't think that he would do that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was watching the game and I feel like it took a little while. So like, I feel like he got his full warm up routine in. Like, I mean, I don't know if that's a factor or not of like the quick, like, hey, you're in there. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. Back to Edwin Diaz though. I mean, that picture was all I needed to see. His hand was caked. Like that's not rosin. I've used rosin. That's not rosin.
I just
said
There's
rosin
no
in
way.
dirt,
I have
just puts his
hard
fingers in the
time-
dirt.
No
hard
world.
time believing that. Like, man, you're gonna get checked. Like, that's why I'm kind of believing him. I'm like, no, he knows he's gonna get checked. He's gotten checked every single time he's gone into a game this year.
Was it? If you remember the game, was it hot that night?
Yeah,
Oh, you mean in New York?
No, in Chicago. I'm saying like if it's hot and humid, like he's probably warming up and he's like, man, I cannot feel this ball right now. Maybe he puts. I don't know.
it was sticky
But I'm
that
saying
week. It
by
was like
that,
95 every day.
yeah. But by that picture, like I've said, I've used rosin. I've used sticky stuff before too. That doesn't look like just rosin to me. You'd have to just be like bathing in rosin for it to have that much. He did say he's like, I put the same stuff on. I always have. I'm like, well, if that's the case, then other umpires need to be looked at for like, hey man, how'd you miss this?
Bottom line, I do think it's wild how baseball puts umpires at discretion this is an opinion. This is like, no, this is too sticky. I think this is too sticky. And
The
if
guy that
you can suspend a guy for 10 games with basically no rebuttal and you lose a player.
the guy that grabbed him was a umpire.
Yes.
He was
Yeah.
up and down. He was
Yeah.
that he was behind the plate maybe the day before or 2 days before, and he was a dude who was like it was his second year of being a call up ump. So he was like
I've had him a bunch. And I remember watching it and I'm like, oh man. But then like he brought everybody else in. He didn't throw him
Yeah.
out himself.
No, he didn't throw him out.
That's-
He called
you
them
know,
crew
so
chief.
like
I think that's the move, is to get like the
Yeah, of
group
course.
consensus of like, hey, and even like I bet when Mendoza came out, he's probably like, hey, like Skip, look at your guy's hand. Like, you tell me. Like, is that a
Yeah.
natural hand? Doesn't look
Right.
like it.
Well, the weird thing though is, I think it was Domingo Herman last year who had a similar issue, and then they let him go wash his hand off. So the enforcement's also kind of been uneven at times, where it's like sometimes guys are getting ejected, and then, as you said, I think an underrated factor is you lose the guy for 10 days on your roster. You know, you're playing with 25 guys for 10 days, which matters to certain teams, and I think the uneven enforcement of it as well is not really helping the situation either. As you said, it's so subjective to begin with. Now we're also, the punishment is subjective at times as well.
I'm not a fan of the offer to go wash your hand off, to be honest. To me, if you're the umpire and you're like, this is too sticky, it's like, see ya. Like, you're getting checked, like you guys said.
I agree.
I don't think there should be like a warning of like, all right, go wash your hand, like, and then we'll see. It's like, no, like, you're gone. Like, you have sticky stuff on your hand. It's not like, oh, this feels like a little sticky. Like, if that's the case, then it might just be rosin. I don't
Do you
know.
think-
It's impossible, like Zack said, where it's literally the umps just being like, this is like a 6 out of 10 stickiness. If it gets like a 6.5 stickiness, you're gone. So like, be careful.
Do you
It's-
think there
It's
should
crazy.
It's just it's wild how they literally like how else are you gonna do it? Like, would you do swab it and wait 30 seconds to be like, nope, he's good? Like,
Do you think
I
there should-
understand your hands are tied, but like, what a rule.
Do you think there should be a TSA agent in the bullpen? Do you think there should be like somebody stationed out there
Yes.
just like watching?
Yes.
Because like if there's somebody like when the guys go to warm up, there's somebody hanging out there, like when are you gonna put it on? Like should there
I
be
mean,
somebody out there like when you go in the bathroom, like I'm gonna make sure I'm in there because I don't want to see you putting anything on those hands.
I was going to say, I don't think that would work because from experience, there's many ways around the getting seen putting it on standpoint. Not that I would ever use it.
A lot of
But I've
places, little
witnessed
hair,
it. Yeah.
little hair, you put in the hair, little rosin, little hair, little rosin.
Gel in the hair. Grab the hair.
You're retired now,
Use-
Dakota.
use-
Can you give us just give us one? What was your favorite? Like if you were
Oh.
like, I really need something tonight. What was the
What did I use or where did I put it?
where would you, if you needed to hide it? Like if you felt like I needed something, like
I'm going to be honest. I only used it before it came out. Like, it was always illegal. I give air quotes because like it was never enforced until recently. Before it was enforced, literally right under the bill of my hat. It was not hidden at all. I would just fix my hat, get some on my thumb, spread it around, good to go. It was usually like Pelican grip. I've never tried Spider Tack. That seems way too sticky for me.
we
I
had some
also-
at the John Boy office once, and it was like we tried to play a blitzball game with it. If you go watch it, it's funny. It's the most viewed video I think we ever had for blitzball, and it's by far the worst game because it's just it's impossible to play with those little light balls, and it's the stickiest substance I've ever felt. I felt it in my fingers for weeks after. Like you cannot
Yeah.
wash it off.
I also didn't like it like too much stick because I threw a lot of changeups and I wanted changeups to kind of slide off my hands, not so much like stick and rip through. Like, I was more so trying to feel it like roll off my fingers.
How about the days like leading up to when they started checking where you would just have it on your glove and everybody in the stadium knew like this guy would turn around after he gets the ball and just sit there with like and on his thumb of his glove, and it's just like, yeah, I know I'm watching him do it, but like, what are we gonna do? Tell him to
right
stop?
inside the
Catchers-
web, and they would just go right to it. Like you'd be like, what are we
Catchers-
doing?
Like you literally like you can hear it just ripping off
Yeah.
of his fingers, and you're just like, yeah, sorry guys, that's just how the game's played.
Well, when it first got like cracked down on, but not super cracked down on, catchers would just put it like on their shin pad and then just like grab some, put it on the ball, and throw it back to the pitcher. Like there was a lot of different tricks people could do. Ian, we haven't even discussed the live show yet since we've had the live show. Like, we didn't even talk about
we
our
didn't talk
thoughts,
about
our
it.
feelings,
How were you
how we
nervous?
felt it went. Oh my God. Unbelievably. I was nervous before Got out there, I was fine. I got like three things that just popped in my mind to say about this. Nervous before, got out there, was fine. Ryan Sandberg came on, went back to being nervous, didn't talk, got scared, became comfortable again when we got back to like Steele and Tyon. And then I was fine again. But Sandberg made me nervous. I was also seated in a position to where he was facing you. That was a game time call. We were walking out to the stage. I said, Ian, we should probably put Sandberg in the middle for this one. And he's like, yeah. So I sat on the outside. So
That was not a
Sandberg would
game
have
time
had to-
decision. That I told you that before the start of the, I mean, maybe you guys forgot it, but that was the plan. My plan all along was that alignment.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Game time call. We think on our feet. Very smart people. Moving backwards though to the meet and greet, that's when I was maybe the most uncomfortable because that's where I needed ZS59 because that was one where I'm like, these people are here to get Ian Happ's autograph, and I'm kind of standing here and I want to be like, hey, don't feel bad if you say you don't want me
They
to
just
sign
keep
it.
walking
Like,
by
I get
you.
it.
You say that, but it was people that were fans of the show. There was a lot of people that were like, and you know what the line of the night was? You're so tall. And I felt really short. One
I
person
think it
actually
was
said to
more-
me with
I was
Dakota
gonna
there,
say-
one person was like, Dakota, you're so tall. Ian, you're shorter than I thought you would be. And I was like, oh, God.
A little bit of a chirp. But no, I was very rattled by that because I was like, one of these is not like the other when people were coming up to get autographs.
It was an awesome night, and like the amount of support for the podcast was really cool. Sandberg was unbelievable. He was fantastic. It was awesome of him to come and do that. I was under because I was sitting on the side of the stage, and then we had the lights. I was getting baked, absolutely baked by the light. I was
Zack.
sweating. Oh my God. It was on
Meek goes
fire
the
over
first-
there.
Meek-
I showed the video to my parents, and my mom was like, "Ian looks really red," and I was like, "Yeah, he was near a light. It was hot. Let's
Yeah,
not
I was
lay
getting
off."
baked by a light.
So Zach, we started with me, Tom, and Ian out there. I'm in the middle. Tom's sitting next to me on the couch.
Did you guys
Ian's
walk
in the
out
chair.
together? Like,
Walked out together, arm in arm. About 2 minutes in, I'm looking at Ian because he's talking, and I'm like, this guy might pass out on stage. His face was so red, and it looked like he just had beads of sweat. He's wearing like a sweater, first of all. It was like sick cardigan. Like, who you trying to impress? Just
Yeah,
kidding.
I got to wear outfits. I wanted to wear my ZS59 shirt, and then you both came out in like formal outfits. Then I had to audible. Luckily, I brought all my clothes that were with me to the theater, so I had everything ready to go. But that was not where I thought we were heading with the night. I know
That
Zach.
was my plan all along was to wear something a little nicer. But I would have loved to wear a 5'9" shirt.
You know my other struggle was with the live show? I was drinking water because I was on fire, and I also had maybe a alcoholic beverage out there. And
I was drinking water because I was on fire.
between every segment, I had to pee. I had to
Yeah.
run to the green room, the back room that we had, and pee. And so the first one, Tom announced like us back on stage because he was doing giveaways in between, and he was basically like,
Always
"All right," and I was still in the bathroom.
Yeah, I turned around and none of you guys were there, and I was like, tough one. The
Yeah, the next
giveaways
one I was like,
also.
Tom, you're gonna have to give me a couple minutes. I gotta go pee again.
I don't think you said that though. You didn't say it. You just kind of
You did
For the
not say
second
that
one.
to me.
For the second one,
Yeah.
second one.
Thank you everyone for coming as well, and thank you to Kyle and everyone from Music Box and Andrew and his team at Marquee as well. Awesome to see everyone. Really cool to do that, and we hope to do it again.
You know, my issue is though, and I'm going to say this on the pod. I had some mimosas on the flight in, had some drinks, never flown first class before. I said, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of this. I'll take some mimosas. It got to the point where they said, do you just want a bigger glass? I said, you bet I do. And I land and I'm feeling good. It's like 12:30 in the afternoon. And both Tom and Ian are like texting on the side, like, we need to make sure he's going to be sober enough. Like, first of all,
Okay.
I
Okay,
weigh
you
250.
texted
No,
us-
I'm not done. First of all, I weigh 250. I can handle it. Come on now. Big guy. Big guy can put him down a little bit. And they're like texting on the side, like, oh, we got to make sure he's okay. And I'm like, I have 7 hours until the show starts. I'm not going to keep drinking all day and be puking on stage.
We talked about this.
Unbelievable.
First off, I'll exonerate Ian. I sent one text to Ian I said, when you see Dakota, let's get some food in him and just make sure that he's nice and ready to go. Before that book, before you respond, you texted me, I think before I was awake, the first thing I saw was you had 6 mimosas already inside of you. I just have felt immediate panic and fear because I was like, there are 7 more hours to the show. You're going to lunch after this with your family. Felt like it could have kept rolling. I wasn't worried about the 6 mimosas. I was worried what that was going to lead to for the rest of the day. And I didn't want Cubs legend Ryan Sandberg to have vomit on his shoes at the end of the night. That was all I was trying to do, was make sure it was a safe environment for everyone. You talked about how nervous you were. I wanted you to be loose, feel comfortable, but also in a good place. And you were. So it was fine.
Zach,
That's
they think I'm a
insane.
child. They think I'm a child. They think I'm a child.
Come on.
Zach was yelling at me for taking too long to get a mimosa on the flight. He goes, why didn't you get one already? Like, they're free. And I'm like, they haven't asked yet. I'm nervous. I don't want to be the first one. He's like, come on, dude. So Zach was my instigator of like making me do it.
My bad.
Should we do Danny Mueller's hot take? Danny had
Let's do it.
Danny had a few. He had a few. But I'm gonna give you this one and save the other one for next week. Danny says that breakfast is the worst meal of the day.
I'm hanging up. I'm out.
Jail.
Out.
Jail.
He goes
Jail.
dinner, lunch, breakfast in his rankings of meals during the day.
Lunch is 100% last because I skip that half the time.
That's
No,
what
I
I
don't
told
ever
him.
skip-
I
I
said
don't ever skip meals,
people
come on.
don't care about lunch. People don't get fired up over lunch. He was like, a good sandwich? It's like, yeah, I mean a good sandwich, but you're not like
I will say this. None of you guys have worked in an office. I do think when you have a 9 to 5 job, lunch hits a little bit differently than if you're going to the field every day and getting a peanut butter and jelly in a minor league clubhouse. Just my 2 cents on that. But I would still put lunch last.
Excuse me. I work a 9 to 5. Thank you. I'm an
Breakfast
adult now.
is the greatest food on planet Earth.
I
I
would take
agree.
breakfast at number 1. Yeah, 100%.
1, 2,
people
and
people don't eat dinner for breakfast. People eat breakfast for dinner.
That's
I was
right.
going to say that.
And people try really hard to eat breakfast for lunch. You ever heard of brunch? No one's getting a steak at brunch. People are getting egg
Maybe
sandwiches,
steak and eggs, but still eggs.
but eggs. Nobody's getting a ribeye for lunch or breakfast, but people are trying to get breakfast for every other meal.
People do have steak for breakfast.
Zach texted Danny already and said, you're fired. And he said, oh, let me guess. You're a big waffle guy, huh? I do love waffles. I love all breakfast food.
There's so much
Sometimes I have a
variety in
waffle,
breakfast too.
Pancakes.
So much, dude.
You go get a McGriddle. Are you serious? A McGriddle? Come
McGriddle's pretty
on.
game changing.
Ooh.
Nothing like a
I-
good breakfast sandwich.
What is a McGriddle again? Is it?
Pancakes for
Pancake.
buns,
Yeah.
sausage, cheese, egg.
I like a little chicken McGriddle.
Ooh, switch it up every now and then. Go crazy.
Yeah, that was.
that
I
is-
think a
that-
lot of the listeners are going to agree that was a bad.
Hey, it was a hot take.
Not a hot take. It was just a bad take.
That's a good way to.
But
put
that's
it.
what makes a good hot take. You know, it should be in the minority of like people should disagree with you. That's kind of the point of it. And he did a great job of that because that's a horrible take. No offense, Danny.
No, all offense.
Sloan Screen Time. Sloan is the world's leading manufacturer of commercial plumbing systems. The company is at the forefront of the green building movement and provides smart, sustainable, and hygienic restroom solutions by manufacturing water-efficient products, including flush-o-meters, faucets, sink systems, soap dispensers, and fixtures for commercial, industrial, and institutional markets worldwide. To learn more, visit sloan.com. What are your screen times?
I'm pulling mine up right now.
6 hours, 11 minutes.
Mine says 1 minute.
Oh, you're
I told you I'm at. Well, hang on. I have the graph. Probably 5 hours and 20 minutes.
I think mine's off too.
3:33 for me. That's 3 hours and 33 minutes. Seems like a win because Dakota is just making his up as he goes. So I'll take the win. 3 hours and 33 minutes.
Mine
That's
says
a-
10 minutes for today.
Yeah, no, that's-
yesterday
we believe you.
4:30 though. Yesterday 4 hours 30 minutes. I don't know why it didn't track today. but
3:33 for me. That's W. Sloan's screen time. Thank you to our friends at Sloan. Thank you to our friends at Parse Rum. Go to Benny's and ask for Parse Rum. That's episode 215 of the Compound Podcast with anybody press the rumble. We'll see you next week.